Coming to you live all the way from the United Kingdom, self-publishing formulas, James Blatch.
Thank you very much indeed, Craig. Thank you so much indeed for inviting me, all the way from the UK, as you say, and the self-publishing formula here at 20Books. And I know there's some other sessions on at the moment, so thank you very much for being here. As they say, in American Airlines, we know you have a choice, and we appreciate the choice that you've made to be here. So we're going to be talking video today. There I am. A quick word about the self-publishing formula. For those of you who've lived in a hole for the last couple of years and don't know anything about it, they are the three amigos. You might recognise Mark Dawson, the super instructor, super bestseller thriller author, who's really turned into a guru for me and for thousands of self-published authors around the world. He's done a brilliant job, and I'm happy to ride on his coattails. He's my cash cow, to put it in a brutal business fashion. But I basically run the company, and he is the genius behind it. And John Dyer, who is just John Dyer. Okay, so who are the Self-Publishing Formula? We have a weekly podcast, comes out on a Friday. It's called the Self-Publishing Formula Podcast, and I say that because it's about to change. We're going to rebrand and relaunch just to confuse things in December. Our 150th episode will be, I think, December the 15th from memory, and we're going to be called the Self-Publishing Show, so it'll be our new thing. And one of the reasons we're calling ourselves the Self-Publishing Show is because video is important for us, and you're going to find out through this talk that I am an evangelist for video all the way through. We have a monthly webinar now called SPFU, which is a really terrible name. SPFU! It's like the New York version of it. And that is a little asterisk there for Patreon supporters and course students. If you don't know what Patreon is, I'm going to talk about that in this talk as well. And so each webinar we do, Amazon ads or Facebook ads or some aspect of marketing, instructional marketing once a month with that. And there are a couple of free online courses just to flag up for you if you haven't done them already. We have a Facebook ads course, which is an excellent little instructional list building course that Mark's done. And coming very shortly to complement that is an AMS ads course, instructional detail. And that's Mark's great thing, is he doesn't leave anything in the dark. You don't get the broad brushstrokes of Mark, you get this is how to do it. And they're great little courses. So selfpublishingformula.com. Does my pointer work? I don't know if this works. My laser pointer. If you go there, you'll get all the links. We do have some premium courses as well, which are for sale a couple of times a year. Self-Publishing 101. I know a lot of you have been asking me about the content of the courses, and if there's interest in that for the last 5 minutes of this presentation, I'm very happy just to go through what's in those two courses and whether they're going to be a good fit for you. If you want me to do that, just ask the question, and I've got a slide ready. So Self-Publishing 101 is the foundation course, teaches you not just about having a mailing list and a website and your social media, it's how to do it, how to find those margins and how to set yourself up for a profitable career based on Mark's own experiences. And then the more advanced course is called Advertising for Authors, and that's really about using the paid ads platforms, principally Facebook and AMS, but we also do a whole bunch of other courses that go into that one bundle. That one is open at the moment. So you can go to selfpublishingformula.com/ads for authors. That's open for a couple of weeks. And I do have a coupon for people here at 20Books. So if you're interested in buying either of those courses, we'll open up 101 as well. I'm not going to say the coupon name because this is being streamed to the internet. And I've asked them not to include this at the end when I show the coupon. So I'm going to say it's going to be a moment of silence and trust. You're going to be in a circle of trust. Because it's $100, the coupon, and it's our gift to 20Books, so we're going to give that out at the end. It's my cheap trick for keeping you here to the end. Okay, Cover Design for Authors is our latest course, much cheaper, like $240, I think, might be a bit more. It's going to go up in January, and that's an excellent course by Stuart Bache. Gets inside Photoshop, tells you how to do covers. It's a really good course. Okay, so who am I? Well, I obviously am Maverick from Top Gun, or at least I love to think I'm Maverick. I have a T-shirt that says if I was flying, Goose would still be alive. It's my new T-shirt I bought in San Diego. Now, I was a BBC reporter, so I was a Walter Mitty character. I dressed up and I got to ride in these jets, and I basically followed the British military around the world. I did Kosovo, and I did Operation Desert Fox from an aircraft carrier. I was sent to the Gulf War, second Gulf War, after it finished, which seemed sensible. Desert Fox I did from the aircraft carrier, which was fun, and Kosovo I did with the RAF. Now, the Royal Air Force fight their modern wars from 4-star hotels. So I was in southern Italy at this 4-star hotel doing lives covering the Harrier Force going out to Kosovo, which is only about 5 minutes flying time from Italy. And I had colleagues who were in Albanian convoys and didn't see a shower for a week. And I was eating mozzarella and Parma ham. So that was my military and my defence career. So BBC Television News, that's who I worked for about 15 years. And after I left News, after a brief period of watching films for a living, where I met Mark Dawson and John Dyer, John Dyer and I started a video production company. And that's where I really developed my love for video and understanding its commercial power and its the reason video works in particular ways. And I've changed a lot of my views over that period of time, which I'll talk about as we go on, as to why video works and what works. Obviously, I'm the podcast presenter as well, and in addition to iTunes and Stitcher, the podcast goes on YouTube and Facebook Live. Why does it go on Facebook Live? Well, there's a good reason. Because Facebook loves live video, pushes live video more than it pushes anything else. So we use a trick, something called Wirecast, which is made by Telestream, to load up the video and stream it to Facebook. And as far as Facebook's concerned, it's alive. It's just using live video time. So Facebook's algorithm says love live video, pushes it out, and we get great reach. People see our podcast for the first time because they've got some sort of algorithm connection with self-publishing and it pops up. So really good use of that. And that's taking advantage of that type of thing is what this talk is going to be all about. Okay, so what you're going to learn today, I'm going to talk briefly about YouTube ads. So there's a paid ads platform. The biggest video ads platform is YouTube ads, and I'm going to tell you why you should not be using it. And 2 years ago, I would have been telling you why you should be using it, and that's all changed principally in the last few months, and then actually in the last couple of weeks, it's got even worse, so I'll tell you why, just so you know. But we will talk about YouTube Organic. Now, YouTube is a huge video platform, the most famous in the world, and it might suit some of you in this room. And I'll explain why it suits some of you, but for most of you, and most of this talk is going to be about Facebook Live, because I think that is a much better platform for most authors, but not all, and we'll go through YouTube first briefly. Yeah, so live video, why live video works, why it's something that you need to be on top of and get ahead of the game. We'll look specifically at Facebook Live and a platform called Be Live, which makes Facebook Live easy and beautiful. Examples, and then a demo. So I'm going to do a live Facebook Live during this presentation, which is clearly insanity and is not going to work, but we're going to try and do it. And there's a small man with a beard in England who's probably watching this live stream and is bitterly angry that he's not here on this beautiful stage with all you lovely people. So we're going to try and get Mark Dawson live into 20Books Vegas, where he belongs. We'll see how that goes. Save your applause, because, as I say, it's insanity. Okay, let's talk about YouTube ads. So a couple of years ago, I authored a module for the Advertising for Authors course, which was 6 hours long and went into all the detail of how to find those margins in YouTube ads. Just sticking a YouTube ad up, a bit like a Facebook ad, is not enough. It's not going to give you a return, but you get all the little details right, you can turn a profit. You can start buying email leads less than $1, down to 50 cents. We got it maybe 40, 50 cents, I think, from memory from Mark's books. And that's nice because it's a new audience you might not reach on other platforms. But you had to use every single little margin you could find. Gradually, AdWords, Google AdWords, have made it more and more difficult to do that. So we are now saying, do not use YouTube ads. It's not profitable for low-value items. So if you're selling something that's $50, $100, you can probably use YouTube ads. And we use them for our courses. Our courses are $500, one of them. So, you know, it's going to be easy for us to buy email leads at £1.50, £2, which is, you know, knocking on $3. That's profitable for us, but it's clearly not going to be profitable for books, unfortunately. But we are doing a new module that's going to go into Advertising for Authors, which is focusing on using YouTube organically. And that's, you're going to hear in this talk, as whether that's going to be suitable for you. Hopefully you'll be in a good position to work out where you should put your effort, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. And just a quick word on what's actually changed and why it doesn't work for lower priced items. So they changed the criteria to join the YouTube Partner Program. When you're in the Partner Program, you can link back to your domain rather than one of the generic domains like another YouTube video or a YouTube channel, which you're restricted to if you're not in the Partner Program. Clearly, you want to get people off the video and onto your landing page. Well, if you can't do that using the best method, the little cards, you're going to lose. It's not going to be profitable for you. So they now say you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours viewed in the last year in order to qualify to join the YouTube Partner Program. They introduced that in March, I think, this year. Now, for instance, Lee Child, I looked him up today. He has 1,000 subscribers, but he has coincidentally 4,000 views. Now, a view is probably a few minutes, so he's a long way short of qualifying for the YouTube Partner Program. That's Lee Child. Although, to be fair, most of his videos are him playing a guitar, so I'm not sure how seriously he takes his YouTube channel. Last Wednesday, literally last Wednesday, this happened. So I run ads for the online courses, and I've spent $35,000 on one particular campaign. It's been really good for us, really profitable for us, and it just stopped working halfway through Wednesday. It didn't serve any ads. And halfway through Thursday, I hadn't started again, and I called the rep, and she said, well, let's have a look at your targeting. And I said, it's got nothing to do with targeting. I haven't changed anything. It's suddenly not working. And we discovered together that YouTube have decided that you need a $50,000 lifetime spend now to use custom audiences, to upload your own data. Well, that's lunacy. You know, you need custom audiences. That's an important part of fine-tuning your campaigns. So I need to exclude our audience. I love our SPF community, and it's been brilliant being here. But they're so loyal to SPF, whenever a YouTube video turns up, an ad, they click on it. Okay, it's SPF, I love SPF, and of course we're paying for that, which is lovely, but expensive. So exclusion audiences and targeting audiences are very important. If you can't do that, if we can't do it after spending 35 grand, you know, it's a non-starter for most self-publishers. So forget YouTube ads. YouTube organic though. There we go. Still huge for reach. You know, YouTube is the second biggest search engine on the planet, owned, coincidentally, by the first biggest search engine on the planet. And when you Google, I see the irony of this, when you Google search engines, actually YouTube often doesn't appear because people don't qualify it as a search engine, in the same way that Amazon doesn't appear as a search engine, but we all know that Amazon is a search engine. People go into Amazon and they search for things. YouTube, they search for things. You know, how often do you have a little technical task in your house and you can search on YouTube, you watch a video and get instruction on how to do it. So 3 billion searches a month. So it's going to work. Oh yeah, of course the viewing hours are going up, and it's got very good demographics. So I had a report, which I couldn't find for this presentation, but I think it was 2015, that showed that YouTube had the best global reach of any social media platform. And anecdotally, from my lifetime traveling in Africa and Asia, I have to say, I see YouTube being used everywhere more than I see Facebook and other platforms. That kind of rings true that YouTube does penetrate globally, probably better than other platforms. Let's check what my next slide is. Yeah, not optimized for live video. So YouTube, strangely, is not good for live video, and I don't really know why. They've tried this. You can stream live video, you probably know this, but the people I know who are doing well on YouTube actually use other platforms like Twitch, which they stream on, and then they feed that into YouTube. So YouTube itself doesn't seem to be great for live video. So it is the original home for user-generated content. Now, is it going to be right for you? Well, if you are a fiction author in most of the main genres, the answer is probably no. It's a kind of personality-led channel. What I mean by that, you don't have to be, you know, does anybody here have a personality? You don't have to answer that question. But are you an expert in something? Are you opinionated? Are you an entertainer? And what I mean by that is that part of who your brand is and what you're selling. So if you think about it, this really lends itself to non-fiction authors more than it does fiction, and there's obviously a lot of non-fiction authors here at 20Books. So if you're non-fiction, or potentially a very niche fiction, so some sort of superheroes or something that goes down quite well on YouTube that YouTubers talk about, then YouTube could be the channel for you. And I'm going to give you an example of someone who is using it very well, an author in a moment. So best for non-fiction or very niche fiction. YouTube will promote you if you get traction. So YouTube's algorithm is very similar to Amazon. Once you start selling books and Amazon picks that up and starts putting you in on the sidebars and the also boughts, etc., YouTube does exactly the same thing. And YouTube's full of that. You know, the typical YouTube page has a whole bunch of, here's your next videos to watch to stop you leaving the channel. And some of those videos on that sidebar that it's promoting to you, they might only have 1,000 views. They don't have to be huge views. You just start getting a bit of traction, the algorithms start working for you. Optimize your channel for SEO. Remember, it's a search engine. So actually, when Brian Meeks, I don't know if Brian is here, is Brian in the room? When Brian was doing his AMS Ads for Authors talk a couple of days ago, and I was working on this presentation, I went into YouTube and I typed AMS Ads for Authors as a search term, and this is what came up. And who was at the top? So we're at the top, because I work hard at this. And every week I make sure that our keywords are there, and that I've got our length right and so on. So if people search AMS Ads for Authors, Self-Publishing Formula podcast episode comes up, and how great is that for our business? Brian is there. Look, he's at the bottom. In a Joe Penn interview. And I'll talk to Brian. I was hoping he was going to be in there. I don't want to talk behind his back, but Brian would kill it on YouTube. So it's perfect for someone like Brian who's got an expertise in an area. And you and I go onto YouTube and we search how to set up a Facebook ad, how to do this. You want to be returning that if that's your non-fiction area. So examples of where this does work for authors. This guy, Garrett Robinson, I don't think Garrett's here. I haven't seen him anyway. He's up in Oregon. He writes fantasy. He does regular videos aimed at both other writers and his readers. He does Writer Wednesday for other writers. He does a vlog aimed at readers, and incredibly, he does a video for Patreon supporters only on a month. He does a lot on YouTube, and he has different channels. And incredibly, he has this channel called Vlog a Novel, which is what it sounds like. In fact, I can show it to you, because it's so obscure. Well, you'd think it's so obscure, but it works for him. Where's his vlog? Here we go. So Garrett, this is a live video. This is a live video of Garrett writing a book. This is a short one. He's actually doing his edits there. Look, he's getting little notes to his editor. This is quite a short one. This is about 2 hours. A lot of these videos are 5 hours long, and he writes his book, and his readers and other writers chip in on the side and say, I love where you're going with this, or I was really surprised about that, or that doesn't really ring true. He feeds that into his writing, and that's how he writes. And then, you know, how connected to the book do these readers feel as a result of that process? Now, this is something I'm going to mention now. This is qualitative, not quantitative. Okay, he doesn't get 100,000 people watching these. In fact, he does stream this through Twitch, I think, so that's what that looks a bit different from YouTube. This is on YouTube, but streamed live through Twitch and then co-streamed into YouTube. It's parked into YouTube afterwards. So if you look, there's maybe 15 views on that. But a view for YouTube is watching half of the length of the video, or at least 30 seconds if it's less than a minute. So 15 people watched at least an hour of this, and on these 5-hour videos, 2.5 hours of it. And actually on Twitch, a lot more people watched it. And people support him through Patreon because they want to feel a part of this process. So if you ever got a spare 5 hours, go to Vlog a Novel and watch Garrett writing his next book. It's a use of YouTube, and he's building up an audience, a big audience, and a loyal audience doing that. Let me go back to... this guy, Antoine Bandele, so I reached out to Antoine, had a chat with him, very, very nice guy, and I was really interested in him because I saw he was selling his books via his YouTube channel. He has 146,000 subscribers, so he's more of a YouTuber, more of a personality guy. And he does this YouTube channel, you can see it's there, called something Bat, isn't it? Silent Bat at the top there. Where he does these little videos on like which superhero versus which superhero would win. So yeah, would Sharknado versus Batman win at 100 metres hurdles? Clearly the shark is going to win a hurdles race. And he does those, and he's witty and he's personality-led. And he's now using his platform to launch his book. He's written a novel, he's got 3 novels planned, he's going to do a quick release, he's into the whole thing. Really lovely guy. But what's interesting about this is I said to him, that's amazing, so you've got this amazing platform. He says, no, they hate it. So they're the entitled generation who want everything for free, and there's free videos, and that's the universe they inhabit, and he's not finding a lot of traction in sales through that. So he's actually going to compartmentalize it, shove that off to one side and start a new YouTube channel, because although he has 146,000 subscribers, and Garrett has 4,500 subscribers, he's jealous of Garrett's 4,500 because they buy his books. They're engaged in what he do. They came on board because he's a writer and selling books. And Antoine's changed midstream. I guess he's suddenly decided he's going to sell books, and that's not going so well. But he will be a very successful author on YouTube, so one to watch. So Google his name as he moves his platform. So I asked Garrett specifically what he got out of the time and effort he puts into YouTube, and this is what he told me. He said he gets this feedback on the writing process is very important to him. He has a close relationship with his readers that inform the way he writes his books. Patreon income. So Patreon, if you haven't heard of it, is a service to support creatives. It's used a lot by podcasters, and it's basically saying, if you love listening to my podcast, why not support me through patreon.com? And SPF Podcast has a link, and Joe Penn does this as well. And people feel a part and engaged with your podcast, and they pay $1 every time the episode comes out, or $2 or $3, and you can give them various rewards. So Garrett is a 4 to 5 figures a month guy at the moment, so a good month for him is $10,000. I think, at least last time I spoke to him, it's probably higher than that now. But he did say to me it's nice on those quieter months to have that $300 coming in for Patreon. His main benefit, though, is his book marketing. So AdWords allows him to remarket to his audience and similar audiences. So although he has fewer than 5,000 subscribers, some of his videos get 80,000 views. He's quite opinionated and political. He gets a lot of traction. And even without using custom audiences, AdWords does give you access to remarketing people who visited your channel, watched your videos, and that's powerful for him to market his books to. So that is YouTube. YouTube will suit that type of person. Are you non-fiction? Absolutely. You're an expert. Are you going to be at the end of a search for somebody who needs to solve something? Is a good way of thinking about it. If you're writing romance books or science fiction, erotica, probably not so much, because it's not really a search term people go in for. But there's another platform for you, and that's Facebook Live, and that's where we're going to focus on. And I'm going to keep an eye on the time, because I'm going to hopefully get the live demo going. Okay, why live video? It's personal. Okay, the best way in the world to sell something to somebody is to have a conversation with them. And if you've got somebody who reads your genre, would like your book, having a conversation with them and meeting you, the author, is a huge jump towards selling them a book, right? Better than sending them an email, better than them, opening or seeing a Facebook ad fly by. But we can't meet, best one in the world, all our audiences. And you can't hang about in Barnes & Noble next to your genre, accosting people who are reaching for a romance book and say, hey, I write romance books. Because, believe me, you're going to get thrown out of that. So this is the next best thing. And I know this from years of looking down a camera lens talking to people. And when I was at the BBC, there was a shift as they started to realise that the old-fashioned package where we filmed all day, did a few interviews, maybe a quick piece to camera at the end, was starting to look staid next to a person talking to the camera. And some people don't like it. You see lots of correspondence now just doing down the lines, as we call it. The whole news is made up of it because you're making a connection with the viewer. We have an opportunity to do that, make a connection with our readers, and it engenders a loyalty more than an email or anything else does. Again, I'll remind you this is qualitative rather than quantitative. So you're going to have 100,000 people, hopefully, eventually on your mailing list. That's great. You've got small conversion rates here. The people who watch you and engage with your live video, the conversion rates are going to be much higher. And they're also going to become your evangelists. It humanises you, makes that connection. Readers feel like they actually know you. So people come up to me, 20Books, and it's absolutely lovely. And I had, walking back after doing the rehearsal this morning, 3 people in a row, and they might be in the room, and one person said, you're the reason I'm here, James. And they recognised me, and somebody else said, I just want to say thank you to you. Now, that doesn't happen when people have been reading your emails. It happens when they've heard your voice every week, and they've seen your face, and they feel like they know you, and it's lovely, and it's something that's available to every one of you through Facebook Live platform to have that connection with your readers. It's the strongest bond you'll have with your readers beyond all those other channels. Why would you be doing it? Get your team members. Get a team out there batting for you, selling your books, doing the hard work. Readers become your fans become your super fans, evangelists for you. You'll have people out there. I've got people who watched me on the BBC 15 years ago, still come up to me in the street and ask me what's happening, they remember when I got married, they remember when the children were born, because they feel they know you. And that only happens through video. And it's a new phenomenon, relatively new phenomenon for us in the world of all this. Launch boost, of course, that key moment. Mark Dawson wouldn't dream of launching a new book without doing a few Facebook Lives and warming up his audience, getting his team ready so everybody's crystal clear about what day is the day to buy the book. And even the ones who've had it free of charge in the advanced team will buy the book on the day. And they're a powerful bunch for you, mobilising your army. The sort of thing Garrett uses audience for getting feedback on your book and your cover designs and so on. Getting ahead of the competition. So we often have this on the podcast and people say, there's so many writers in the world and there's so much competition and, you know, I'm just a small person trying to make my way and I can't do it anymore. And we say to them, the fact that you're listening to this podcast, out of all the people who are writing books, trying to get them published in that long list, you're already up here because you've taken proactive steps. Being in this room puts you right up there, small groups. Being on regular live video, building your team, puts you one of those edges that puts you ahead of everybody else. Book sales. Obviously, all of these things lead to book sales, and so they should, and you shouldn't be doing it if they didn't. Patreon income might be important to you, so that's a bit quick. So this is a general business stat. Businesses that use video grow, well, easy tiger. Businesses that use video grow revenue 49% faster than those that don't. Why doesn't that apply to us? We're businesses, right? We write in the morning, we do our business in the afternoon. These things that the whole rest of the business world know apply to us as well. Of course they do. Okay, why specifically Facebook Live? Well, we know that Facebook is a hugely important marketing platform for almost everything, but certainly for authors. And it was pointed by, I can't even read it from here, but somebody's social media examiner. Facebook is the single most important platform for marketers. Its algorithm promotes video, and I'm going to talk about the hooky side of that in a moment. So Facebook loves video, and in every meeting that Mark Zuckerberg, I know he probably has other things on his mind at the moment with a lot going on, but when they talk about what Facebook's doing, where it's going to be, video is going to be in every other sentence they have in those conversations, because they know that video is the big growth area online. 135% better organic reach than an image post. A lot better than a post without an image at all. You will see more comments, you will see a lot more shares, and 3 times the viewing duration than recorded video. So live video works very well. Live video penetrates deeper, which is my attempt at entering the erotic fiction market. When I wrote that sentence. I was thinking about doing historic military erotic fiction. It's my next thing. I heard there's a ton of cash in it. Did Facebook fib? So let me deal with this very quickly. So you might know the story that Facebook, their figures on reach for video were being exaggerated, and there was a report produced very recently, a few weeks ago, that stated that this problem traced back to 2015, wasn't fixed till 2017, and there's some allegations that they might have known it was happening longer than they let on. And I've read some hysterical articles and blog posts from old media people sitting in like the Washington Post newsroom saying that good people have been made redundant and Facebook lied to us. So my colleagues have been made redundant because of this myth that people are migrating to online video, and they were lying. It was all a charade. Well, they weren't lying. Facebook's exaggeration is irrelevant. It happened, it was almost certainly a mistake. I don't believe for 1 second they did it deliberately. It was just something that was double counting somewhere along the way, and they caught it when they did. It does not belie the fact that video viewing is migrating to online, and that is an irrefutable fact. Online streaming overtook mainstream in the UK this year. What that means is, this is mainstream. This is people watching Downton Abbey and the latest dramas and you name it, documentary series. More people in the UK watch them online streaming than watch them on the TV. That started in July this year. I'm not sure what the state is in the States. And I think to my own house that kind of makes sense, because in the evening I'll be sat in the kitchen working. My wife might be watching Strictly Come Dancing in the living room. My daughter will be watching, she wants to be a lawyer, she's watching all Making a Murder and all this stuff on Netflix at the moment, and my son will be watching YouTube, watching people play games, which is what he does on YouTube. So out of the house, 25% of the house is watching the old TV, and my kids never go and watch TV anymore, and 50% are streaming, and 25% is working. Writing. So you can see the figures. We see these figures all the time. They're going up year on year. So basically, the bottom line is people watch video online as a matter of routine today, so you need to be there, taking advantage of that. And we've got an option for you here. So it's the easiest platform to use, Facebook Live, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that in a moment. I'm going to rush through this bit because I want to get the live demo done. Low startup requirements, and your readers live there. And I know at the younger age of this, there's a bit of discussion about, you know, my daughter is a Snap chatter, of course, although I annoy her by saying, "Are you Snap calling your friends now?" Listening to hot hip music and stuff, just to annoy her. But she has joined Facebook, and the reason she's joined Facebook is because it's actually a very practical social media platform. There's lots of groups, and her sports organisation and the village organisation are there. So my hunch is, and we're too early to really know about this, is that kids will migrate to it as they get a little bit older. So I don't think Facebook is going anywhere. But I do understand if you are, you know, the younger end of YA, you might struggle a little bit with the audience. But for the most of us, our readers are there. I write aviation, Cold War. I'm writing an aviation, Cold War book. And there are tons of groups on Facebook of pictures of lightnings and T-38s and stuff. And believe me, I spend a lot of time on them, so I know they're there. Our readers are there. Okay, getting started. Let's move on to the practical side of things. What do you need? I mean, a few years ago, I was very snobby about the cameras and everything you needed. Of course, you don't need anything. You need a phone, or you need a laptop with a webcam and a built-in mic, and most of you probably have that on you now. So you've got everything you need to regularly stream. If you want to scale up, the number one thing you should be looking at is a microphone. So I was told very early on in my BBC career, the most important thing in television is sound. Which sounds counterintuitive, but it happened to me. I was at Ali Al Salem Air Base doing a live into the main BBC News, quite a big moment for me. And during the live, I was standing there talking to the camera, and I saw the cameraman suddenly going down like this and looking around, and I just carried on going. And he said to me afterwards that the picture dropped out for about 10 seconds, knocking on 10 seconds. And he was trying to work out why, but it's just one of those things, and it came back in. But they stayed with me through the you know, the 1 minute or so I was talking. And that was great. But imagine for a moment that the sound dropped out for 10 seconds. Well, there's no way in the world they would have stayed with me. They would have given it 2 or 3 seconds, and then they would have come back to the studio and said, "I'm sorry, we've lost him." So sound's really important. The best thing you can do, invest in, is a microphone. There's two recommendations there. We've used both of those, the Blue Yeti and the Rode NT USB. They're about $150, so it's a little bit down the line. It's not necessary, but if your sound quality is not that good, it makes it tiring to listen to for a long period of time. You get a nice microphone, a little rich sound, and people will relax into it a lot more. So that's probably your number one thing. Lighting's also a nice thing to have, but not as necessary, and the Orky desk lamp is a nice recommendation I've had for that. External camera, just don't bother with it. You know, just get a newer laptop, will have a better camera in it, and it's too faffy to have an external camera. Getting started. So it is obviously a bit daunting at first when you first start doing this, but like everything else, it gets easier with experience. And the great thing about this is that over a period of time, you'll find your voice, and you don't need to be Ron Burgundy. I mean, in fact, we need to be the opposite of that. For me, you know, it was a great satire, that, but you look at the evening news, CNN or Fox, whatever it is you watch in the evening, it all feels old-fashioned to me. And it amazes me how obsessed everyone is with it. So CNN and Fox, I mean, they are news makers now, aren't they? So row with the president in press conferences and so on. And so the news is being framed in what these television stations are saying and doing. And I'm thinking, who cares? You know, this is what my parents used to watch a long time ago, and it's not what anyone's watching anymore, but they're obsessed with it. You don't need to be that. You need to be the opposite of that. You need to be yourself. You need to be hesitant and wondering what it is you're going to say next, and all the things that would never have happened in a BBC studio. And I can remember being out and about trying to do this years ago and saying to the producer, I'm just going to ad-lib this bit. And she said, well, what are you going to say? So well, I'm going to make it up. I'm just going to, I'm going to ad-lib it. That's great, brilliant. What exactly are you going to say? You haven't really got the hang of this, have you? And in the end, I had to write down a script for her so she knew what I was going to say. Well, we don't have producers standing there anymore with clipboards, so be regular, which is not about eating fruit. It's about making sure that if you start this, you need to do it regularly. So once a week is a really good spot for you to do. Like all these things, don't just start and stop. Don't do it once every 6 months. At the beginning, ignore viewer numbers and reach and etc. as you start out. They'll be very low. They might be 0, and I'll talk to you about a way to get around that in a moment. But you're finding your voice. You're finding what it is that you like talking about and when you're at your most relaxed, and that's when you'll start to work out a rhythm and start to look forward to doing it. That will happen to you. Everyone is awful at the beginning. So Mark was probably not awful, but he wasn't great at the beginning of this. And I noticed a couple of times he's very kindly said that he attributes to me, working alongside me, he's learned how to be a presenter, but that's not true actually. He's just got better because he's done it. He does it hours of this stuff, and we do a podcast every week, and he's completely relaxed, and he usually has a beer or a gin and tonic on the go, and he's friendly and fun company on a live, and that's just because he's just done it a lot. What should you talk about? Okay, I'm going to race through these a little bit, and I'm going to make this presentation available to you if you want to get these down later. But I'm going to give you 12 here. Hot topics, so whatever's going on at the moment. Q&A, get questions, and if you're starting out, get your friends to write questions or get questions in advance so you've got something to answer. Behind the scenes, how you write, your cover reveals, book unboxing, people love that. Giveaways, book readings, read your favourite chapter from your historical military erotic fiction. Release day, get everyone excited, get help for your research, chat with a fellow author or another guest, have a guest on, update on launch and production meetings, cover events like this, blog posts, that's 12. Okay, if you do one a week, that's 3 months covered. And then you can start again on that process. And some of those broadcasts would have fed you more ideas anyway. Here's an example of somebody who's killing it on Facebook Live. So Cecilia Mecco, unfortunately, is face down in a gutter in Atlanta this weekend with her girlfriends and couldn't be here. So she's out celebrating. But Cecilia took this up about a year or so ago. She does regular Facebook Lives. Her genre is Scottish historical romance. So she has a Friday live called Under the Kilt, which is great, and she often has guests on there, and she's brilliant, so go and have a look at her channel, facebook.com/Cecilia Mecca. She regularly has guests on. She uses the Be Live platform, which I'm going to show you. And just have a quick look. So you'll see her views, and you'll think, well, she hasn't had many views, people there at the time, but look at the reach you get afterwards, the people who end up watching that video, hundreds, even though there might have been 15 there at the time. So this is really worth it. Okay, Be Live, I mentioned it a few times. Be Live platform. It sits on top of Facebook, and it's the place where you can set up your live and run it from. It's really nice. It's simple, intuitive, and fun, just like me. It looks terrific. Just like, hey, thank you. There's a free pricing structure, so you get 20 minutes, up to 20 minutes twice a week for free. In the long term, you might want to move on to the Live platform, which is $12 a month, and it's plenty good enough, which is a very American way of saying that. I don't know why, but plenty good enough. Yeah, I've been here too much. But, interestingly, and I'm not covering this because I don't know enough about it, I've read a description of Facebook Live changes that are coming and being rolled out at the moment, and it seems to me like they're starting to do a lot of what Be Live charge for is going to be packaged up as part of Facebook Live, so keep an eye on that. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the Be Live platform from both the presenter and the viewer point of view. Okay. In fact, I might skip. What time is mine? Is it 10:15? Yes, I'm on yellow already. 5 minutes. I'm going to go straight to setting up. Let's just do this and try and get Mark on here, and you'll see how Be Live works. So, this is how simple it is. I'm going to go onto the internet and hope that works. Let me just check. Yeah, it's working. Okay. So, this is the Be Live platform. I have a subscription on the Lite platform, and I'm going to set up a Facebook Live before your very eyes. Start broadcasting. I'm going to click on interview because I'm going to have a guest on here. Where am I going to put it? I'm going to put it into the Facebook group. So let me choose Facebook group and go down to the 20Books Vegas Facebook group. So if you've got your laptops or your phones, you want to go into the group now, you'll be able to see the live going out, hopefully. This is what it's going to be called. A Fab Live from 20Books. And that's going to give me notifications, but I'm not really that bothered about it, but there we go. Okay, I'm going to add my branding. This is a nice little thing. So this is what the picture's going to look like, and look, we can stick our own logo in the corner. Now this is what I'm talking about, what's available to us today. How cool and professional does that look, and how easy is it for us to do this? Okay, I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to send that to Mark Dawson. Connect my camera. We did think about moving this, didn't we? Should we risk that? Or will it all be calamitous? If I move very slowly like this. Thank you. Is Mark Dawson there? Now, I'm going to show you a couple of things whilst we're waiting for this. So, those captions you saw briefly at the front, there's two ways of doing that. There's something called an agenda, where in advance, you can write things in that you want to be put up as what we used to call a strap in the CNN, BBC days. And if you're doing this at the beginning, it's quite nice to have that, so you might want the title up at the beginning. It's very easy just to click through the next one, and you might have your 4 subjects just as a prompt for you, what you're going to talk about, your next 4. It might be a call to action. Here's the web links, have all your web links ready to go in that, and they're very easy to do, so I can add one here. Q and A with Mark. Although Mark hasn't joined us yet, so I'm slightly worried about this. That goes there, and let's put another one. That's a question. Okay, and if we want to show that, there we go. You can see it's previewing. We're not live at the moment, previewing up in the corner, and I can hide that as well. When we're live, come on, Mark, where are you? Don't let me down. Okay, I might have to go live without him and see if this thing works. Actually, whilst we're waiting, I've got a minute, let me just show you what it looks like. So this is me doing a live earlier. So you can see my agenda is there covering my face, and that's available for me just to press show and show those straps on there. Facebook comments that come in, these are people watching the Facebook Live, commenting underneath. They appear to you in the right-hand corner. Any one of those comments at any moment you can show. So if people ask a question, you just click show and it shows it up on the screen. They also appear for you as a presenter as the comments are being made, so you don't have to take your eyes away. There's Chris, who was here earlier. Chris Butler asked a question. So I can carry on talking, look at the screen, see that these comments have come in just to alert me. The viewers don't see that. What they do see, and let's go and have a look at this same live from a... oh, he's there! Hey, there he is. So, Mark Dawson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Hey, say hello to 20Books. Yeah, we can hear you.
James, two things I'd like to say. First of all, short, you're sacked.
I did call him short.
Second of all, how's your vacation? We're working hard here.
Vacation. You're so rude.
Third of all, I apologise to everyone in the audience for James's terrible jokes.
Yeah. Do you know what? We're going to go live. Let's go live and see if this works.
God.
I know.
Here we go. James breaks the internet.
Yeah.
Where's Mark and Kevin? Wave, Mark and Kevin. Mark Lefebvre
Yeah,
and
they're
Kevin
right at the
Dunlap.
back. They're right at the back.
They've been showing pictures of me. Sorry, you watching me watching you or
Yeah.
something.
Well,
It's all
look-
very nice.
Well, look, we're here. So I'm going to come into shot here and just say we are live in 20Books Vegas, demonstrating how easy it is to have a regular presence on Facebook Live. Two Brits invading America. Well, I'm physically invading it and you're digitally invading it. So, Mark, now that we've got you, and obviously you've got your seat nice and high so we can see all of you, which is great. Why don't you, it's actually a high chair, it's in a high chair. Why don't you tell people how important Facebook Live is to you?
It's very important. Yeah, it's great. It's a really good way to reach your readers. So I do. I don't do enough. I'd like to do more, but I'm aiming to do one every couple of weeks on a Friday, just to connect with the readers, to mention some of the things that James do. Some of the things that James has mentioned. So readings, competitions, contests, giveaways, new releases, all that kind of stuff. They really love it. It's great for reach. Doesn't cost anything. Yeah, you should try it. And it's pretty simple as well. If James can do it on stage in Vegas and not break the internet, it can't be hard.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Well, I've got a lot of work to do. I don't know about you.
You might have made an effort. I mean, sartorially, you're laying the side down.
This is my Maverick T-shirt. How dare you? Okay. We're going to have to end this because we've run out of time on the live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, Mark. Say goodbye to Mark Dawson and the UK.
See you very soon.
Okay. So the point of that exercise, and I didn't do that really quickly because I've done it loads and loads. I've done one of those before. Now, BeLive is a really intuitive, easy platform to use, and it looks like something that it took $1 million to look like 10 years ago with vision mixers and a team of people. This is available to us now. That connection we're talking about, that's what it's all about engendering loyalty and getting your team working for you, and it's easy to do. So I hope I've given you a little insight into that and some instructional detail as well in the best SPF tradition. If you want that coupon, can I put that up without breaking the internet? Let me find that. Yeah, why don't you cut the live stream just in case?